Hey, it's Head Ripper here. I'm gonna go over our 10-man heroic Yor'Sahj kill. I'm a haste, mastery, expertise tank, so I use 8% hit, 1660 haste, 14% expertise, and 117% mastery. Alright, so here's how our markers look on this boss when he's looking straight at you. Got the yellow and the green and the red and the purple, blue, and the moon is black. And what we're going to do is come over here to the green marker, and this is where we're pulling from because the majority of the time we're killing either green or yellow. And we're using Foji's um, weak aura default settings on what to kill. So 7 seconds, same thing, use your army. At 1 second, use your golem potion and then horn, and then just walk in there, taunt them back to the middle. Start chopping them down with a heart strike and a death strike, and then hit your DRW. Same thing. Outbreak, death strike, heart strike, your runic weapon, then death strike, rune strike, death strike, rune strike. If your buff is still active, if you've got active trinket stuff, go ahead and hit your goal so that it snapshots on it, and then go ahead and start, just depth strike, heart strike, chopping them down. You're looking at the buff on his debuff on you, and then when it hits like 3 stacks, go ahead and just start rolling your AMS. And what you want to do as well there is before you pull off to kill the first ad, refresh your outbreak on them, and then boot to the next ooze and start chopping it down. He's just gonna stay there in the middle. You don't have to worry about him running or anything like that. He's not attacking anybody. And even when he sucks up the oozes, he's stationary for a good 7 or 8 seconds. He don't actually hit you. So once he drops the black ads down, you'll want to renew your outbreak on the boss. And then as soon as you count one, two, three, four, five of the forgotten ones, then you can hit pestilence and you can spread your dots to them. And then, that way they're doing less damage to the group when they're meleeing them. You can't taunt them, you can't tank them. Just they're gonna hit whoever they're gonna hit. They just fixate on somebody. You're not sitting there prioritizing heart strike on them. You're just hitting it if it's your natural rotation. You will only heart strike them if somebody's like calling out for help that you've got to get them down. And usually it's only on a black with a yellow. Because if you get a black and a yellow, then he's gonna spit ads out twice. Um, so on a black and yellow, you will have one set of five come out, you'll kill them, and then another set of five will come out and you'll kill them as well, and then he'll be spawning the oozes. When you get the second set of forgotten ones, the oozes will be spawning. So just have your whole raid group move as a whole to that next ooze so that if the black ads are fixated on a healer or a caster or range or something, we can all cleave them together, and then we all just stack up on the ooze and we try to cleave them down because the boss isn't actually hitting anybody at that time, so you don't have to worry about it. Use the time after you kill a ooze and you're waiting on the boss to become active again to renew your bone armor. That way you get the max uptime on it. What we were doing on the Mana Void was gripping it in when it got to about 50%, 60%, somewhere right around there. So I'd grip it in and then everybody would focus it and kill it. We were having an issue that we were leaving at 5% health and then just going to the next set of oozes. And then when they drop a blue orb down, we were going to kill the other Mana Void, but what was happening was it was getting so low with dots at 5%, it just like auto kills it and nobody was close to it. So don't do that mistake. What we ended up doing was just gripping it in and everybody focus it and kill it, and get their mana back, and then just keep going on the boss or the ads. I'm bringing these out to it then. Helping. When we had black, yellow, and red, we would Lust and Barrier because it's a lot of raid wide damage because he's attacking 50% faster and stuff. All of his abilities are coming up faster and they got uh, reduced cooldown. So I started out with IPF to smooth out the front loaded damage while my healers and stuff are getting ready to heal all of the red damage and black damage from the ads. And then once that fell off, I would Vamp Blood, and halfway through Vamp Blood, I DRW, and then once that was, once I got to 3 or 4 stacks, I would hit my AMS as well, and that way it just smooths it out, and it's such high damage that I also had my ERW waiting for this as well. So, our ERW and then go straight to a Death Strike, Rune Strike, Death Strike, Rune Strike, and you can even throw in your Rune Tap to help out because if you're glyph for it, it'll help heal the rest of the raid as well. And then if you are still needing more heal like damage reduction, you can call for a pain sup or a hand of sack. If you get a black, blue, and red, then what we were having to do was um, pull it in and try to kill it. But if it was still going further away, what we needed to do was wiggle the boss with the mana void, and that way everybody was in range when they could kill it. Because what happened was, um, it was floating away, and our melee was going to kill it, but they were getting so far away from the boss that the red damage was too high and they were dying from the red damage because the further you are away from the boss, the more damage it does. When you get black, blue, and purple, it's a little rough because the healers don't have mana and they have to pretty much watch their healing as well to make sure it's not stacking up too high. But because they're taking the raid is taking constant damage from the mobs hitting people. So you're like on an island at this point as well, and you're pretty much trying to self heal yourself because it doesn't count towards your stacks. So if you can burn your cooldowns, burn them early. Go ahead and hit your vamp blood and get the full two, three chops out of your death strike with a rune tap to help them, and then hit your AMS and even IBF. You can even rune tap and it doesn't count towards your stacks either. And it will heal if you're glyphed the rest of the raid. So it helps out a little bit. Even if you get 5 stacks, like the highest damage it did to one person, because your whole raid is going to take shadow damage, was like 90k. So it's not like it's going to kill somebody from 100 to 0. We were actually 3 healing it just because we were doing progression and we were trying to get used to all the mechanics of the fight and things like that. So we were a little bit low on damage, and it actually ended up taking us the full 10-minute berserker timer to kill the boss. And we just killed it as it was berserking. And we ended up having 2 people die in that fight that we battle resed. So the DPS check is very forgiving. I mean, we had a guy dead for nearly 4 minutes, and we still got it. So you can definitely 3 heal and, get this down, just for progression's sake. You know, you wanna get the loot, you wanna get the heroic boss down. You guys are all learning the mechanics and, the quirks of the fight. And then you can come back next week and optimize your gameplay to have 2 healers and a better understanding of how much damage you're taking, when you're taking the damage, what ooze combination you're getting, and then how to effectively use a strategy on that oozes. So I think what we're gonna do is for like black and purple, Devo AM, black, yellow, and red, we're gonna barrier, and blue, black, red, we're gonna wiggle the boss out with the mana void so that our melee doesn't die to red damage. Just little things like that. But this is a tier boss, so you get your tier gear going. So you got to do whatever it takes to get this boss down the first couple weeks, and then you can come back because we're gonna have a long time to kill these guys. So three heal it and get it down. And then you can come back next week more geared, more prepared, and start smashing. All right. Have a good one. Bye.